The sole survivor of a deadly tournament returns to the game 2 years later to stop its organizers. However, nothing goes as planned, and he is once again forced to fight for survival. The events of the second season pick up where the first left off. Song leaves the airport, deciding to track down the game's organizers. Stripping down, he finds a tracking device under his skin and removes it. 2 years later, Song uses his winnings to hire an army of former debt collectors to search metro stations for the mysterious stranger who recruits new players. Meanwhile, the police officer Chun, who survived his brother's attack and a fall into the sea, becomes a traffic patrol officer. A fisherman who saved him at sea helps Chun investigate the waters in search of the island where the games are held. One day, 2 debt collectors spot the recruiter. They inform Seong and keep an eye on the stranger while he travels. The recruiter changes tactics, offering homeless people in a park a choice: bread or participation in a lottery. Most choose the slim chance of getting rich. The performance concludes with the recruiter stomping on bread in front of the starving crowd. As the recruiter drives off in a taxi, the collectors follow him. Arriving at a location, they attempt to detain the stranger, but he fights them off. Seong arrives at the scene but is stopped by patrol officer Chun, who issues him a ticket. Chun begins to suspect Seong, notes down his car's license plate and realizes he has seen him before ending up on the island. Using his professional connections, Chun tracks down companies registered to the car. Meanwhile, Seong arrives at a location and finds signs of a struggle, unaware that the recruiter is watching him from a rooftop. The stranger offers the captive debt collectors a game, rock, paper, scissors combined with Russian roulette. One loses and dies. The second becomes part of a conversation where the recruiter tries to understand why they were following him. Meanwhile, Seong returns to his hotel, where the recruiter is waiting. To add intensity to their meeting, the recruiter suggests playing Russian roulette without spinning the revolver's chamber after each shot. To prove his resolve, the recruiter shoots himself in the head just as Chun rushes in. Chun tries to arrest Seong on suspicion of murder, but he is knocked out by one of the revived debt collectors. This collector is Woo Seok, a loyal friend of the deceased boss who had heard of the game. He decides to help Seong to ensure his friend's death was not in vain. Upon waking, Chun admits he was on the island disguised as one of the guards in pink uniforms. He offers his assistance, and Seong shows his new allies his black market weapons stash and a shooting range set up in a motel. Seong tasks Woo Seok with assembling a reliable team to execute the plan, kidnapping the game master from a club whose address is on the deceased recruiter's business card. In his spare time, Seong keeps an eye on the younger brother of Se-byok, the North Korean defector who died in the first season's finale. He also hires a detective to help transport Se-byok's mother and reunite her with her son. Simultaneously, a woman named No-il contacts the same agency to save money while working at a parking lot. She notices a girl who resembles her child, but it turns out to be her co-worker's daughter, who is suffering from leukemia. When No-il receives a business card from the recruiter, she agrees to participate in the game. In the next game, Seong aims to earn money for his daughter's treatment. An underground doctor replaces a missing tooth with an implant containing a tracker to monitor his location. Meanwhile, Woo Seok gathers a team of trusted mercenaries, former soldiers, special forces operatives, and demolition experts. Police officer Chun stays outside with the mercenaries, while Seong and Woo Seok enter the club. Inside, 2 guards in pink uniforms appear, and Chun follows them. He finds Woo Seok, who has been neutralized with a stun gun, while Seong is escorted to a white limousine, the same car that brought him home after his victory in the first game. In the limousine, instead of the game master, Seong finds a communication device. Through it, the game master speaks, telling Seong he should have gone to the US to be with his daughter instead of seeking the organizers. He claims the game system reflects the world, the wealthy seeking entertainment, and the poor willing to do anything for money. The mercenaries in 3 cars pursue the limousine, intending to capture the game master in a deserted area. Chun, however, doesn't reveal to anyone that the game master is his brother. Accurate sniper shots from guards in pink puncture the tires, making the chase impossible. Realizing the plan has failed, Seong switches to a backup option. He asks to be returned to the game. The game master agrees and fills the car with gas. Meanwhile, at a truck parking lot, No-il also prepares for the game, but not as a player, rather as one of the guards. The next day, Chun and the mercenaries set out on a boat to sea, following the signal from Xiong's tracker to locate the island where the competition takes place. Xiong, meanwhile, wakes up in a familiar hangar with 456 new unfortunates, all desperate for the grand prize. The rules now include a new allowance. The remaining players can end the game early by voting and split the accumulated prize money, which increases with each stage. Among the new participants are Min, a trader and blogger who lost his fortune on cryptocurrency; Thanos, a rapper who blames Min for his losses; Pak, a mama's boy who ran up debts; and his elderly mother Ja, who wants to help her son repay his loans. Xiong remains calm, hoping the tracker will lead reinforcements to him. On the way to the first game, Xiong is approached by Chun, his friend from the first season, whom he hasn't seen in 3 years. The players are released onto an enclosed playground with a large doll for the game Red Light, Green Light. Xiong glances at the sky, hoping for a mercenary helicopter. However, the mercenaries, following the signal, reach the island but find not an arena, only a lone fisherman. The tracker removed from Xiong's tooth lies among worms in a bait jar. Realizing the deception, Xiong understands he is forced to play again. Taking charge of the team, he warns them that the doll's eyes contain motion sensors and that any mistake will lead to death. The players slowly move forward, but a bee lands on one of the girls. Startled, she moves and is shot, triggering panic and a mass shooting. Meanwhile, No Ill notices player 246, the father of the sick girl from the park. Xiong continues to lead the players, covering his mouth with his hand to avoid being recognized. As the game nears its end, the participants cross the finish line. A wounded player is left on the field. Xiong returns for him along with a girl, trying to save him. However, No Ill finishes off the wounded player, stating that he has already been eliminated according to the rules. After the first game, the participants return to the sleeping hangar. When the soldiers in pink uniforms appear, Xiong initiates a vote to end the game early. Under questioning, Xiong admits that he has participated in the game before and was a finalist. The participants are divided again. Some want to leave, while others aim to increase the prize pool at the expense of others' deaths. The voting is tense, despite Xiong's persuasion. The final vote is cast by player 1, who turns out to be In-ho, the game master and the brother of police officer Chun. Like the previous player 1, he has decided to personally experience the game and votes to continue it. After the vote, In-ho approaches Xiong and tells him that it was his determination that allowed the game to continue. Other players gather around, seeking advice from the veteran. Reluctantly, Xiong shares some of his experiences. Soon, a young man named Dae-ho, who, like Chun, served in the Marines, joins their team. The first altercation among the players arises. Rapper Thanos and his friend attack the blogger Min over investment advice that caused their financial losses. The fight is stopped by In-ho, who easily subdues the attackers. His actions earn applause from the other participants. Later, In-ho approaches Xiong to talk. He shares his life story. His wife was gravely ill, but risked her life to give birth to their child. To pay for her treatment, In-ho borrowed money, but it was mistaken for a bribe, and he lost his job. Although his wife has since passed away, the story remains true. After lights out, a group of guards involved in organ trafficking expresses dissatisfaction that the bodies of players are arriving dead. However, No Ill, who finishes off survivors, receives a summons to the black market coordinator. She adamantly refuses to assist her colleagues in their schemes. The second round begins. The participants are led to a field with 2 colored tracks and asked to divide into teams of 5. Xiong hesitates, but his team forms with Chun, Dae-ho, In-ho, and a girl named Jun, whom they include out of pity. The other players also form groups. Once the teams are set, the rules are explained. The team members' legs are tied together with ropes, and they must move around a circular track within 5 minutes, while completing 5 mini-games. 2 teams start simultaneously. One gets stuck on the first task, while the other progresses but wastes time overcoming the second. It doesn't help. They are both executed by the pink soldiers for exceeding the time limit. Xiong's team is the last to perform. They complete 3 minigames on the first attempt. On the final task, In-ho must spin a top, but his nerves cause him to fail. The extra time they earned allows for several attempts before Seong risks it all to make the final throw. In Ho, to help, aligns his leg with his teammates, securing victory for the team. Unfortunately, their opponents are ruthlessly executed. When the players return to the hangar, some celebrate their survival, while others worry that the prize fund increased little due to the deaths. During this time, No-Il is attacked by 2 colleagues involved in illegal organ trafficking. Despite attempting to defend herself, she is brutally beaten and threatened with disfigurement if she continues to interfere with their business. Shortly after, the staff announces an increase in the prize fund and calls for another democratic vote to end the game early. Once again, the votes are nearly split, prompting Seong and Player 1 to give speeches about the need to stop the competition. They are countered by participants willing to take the risk and resolve all their financial problems at once, arguing that the tasks are not that difficult and the risk is manageable. At night, Seong suggests setting up guards, fearing another mass fight like in the previous game. The next morning, the participants are led to a new challenge, the 3rd round. The new game, Odd One Out. Players spin on a large carousel. When the music stops, the host announces a number. Within 30 seconds, the participants must form groups of the specified size and enter one of 50 rooms. The first number is 10. Seong's team finds 5 more players and occupies a room, watching through the window as those who fail to make it in time are executed by the pink guards. This time, No-Il doesn't interfere with leaving the wounded for organ harvesting. The second number is 4. Player 1 sends the team into a room while he searches for 3 others. In one room, 3 participants try to hide, hoping that breaking the rules will go unnoticed. But they are discovered through surveillance cameras and executed through the window. The final round, Player 1 calculates the number of participants in rooms, assuming the next number will be 2, based on the decreasing trend. His prediction is correct. Splitting into pairs, the players rush to find rooms. Player 1 runs with Chun, but returns for him when competitors grab him. They manage to reach a room where a player is already present. To avoid disqualification, Player 1 uses a chokehold at the last second. After the game, Seong and Player 1 discuss the results of the voting and the prospects for the next rounds. The voting results show a slight advantage for those wanting to stop the game. It seems like the plan has worked. Only 2 holdouts remain. Player 1 is the last to vote. His decision will either create a tie or secure a victory for those wanting to continue the game. In a fit of nerves, Chun nearly reveals to the team that Player 1 killed another participant in front of him but doesn't have time. The man votes against continuing, resulting in a tie. The organizers give the players until morning to reconsider, announcing a revote. Yeon-sik tries to persuade the holdouts to vote for ending the game, appealing to their desire to return home, rest, and eat properly. Later in the restroom, Thanos and his friend threaten Min, who previously betrayed them by voting against continuing. The clash of interests escalates into a fight during which the blogger stabs Thanos with a fork. Outside, the guards calmly listen to the sounds of the brawl without intervening. The great restroom fight ends with 5 casualties. Meanwhile, on the mercenaries' boat, the captain tinkers with a drone. One of the passengers notices but is thrown overboard. The night attack. At lights out, the holdouts launch their attack, but the guards, already waiting outside the doors, come in to separate the players. However, during the inspection, the players unexpectedly attack, seizing weapons. A firefight ensues, during which the number of guards is reduced, and one of them is taken prisoner. Seong orders the collection of weapons and ammunition, preparing to storm the administrative block. He recruits volunteers. Capturing the guard, Seong forces him at gunpoint to lead the team to the administration. They encounter an ambush where the captive is killed by his own comrades. After sending Chun deeper into the building, Seong realizes the doors they are opening lead to nowhere. Meanwhile, Player 1, bypassing the guards' positions, betrays his comrades by shooting them in the back. He then uses a radio to inform Seong that they've lost the battle. The remnants of the revolutionaries, out of ammunition, are surrounded by new waves of guards. Seong and Chun are forced to surrender. At this moment, the main organizer, wearing a black mask, descends and shoots Chun. Seong, pinned to the floor by soldiers, watches helplessly as his loyal friend dies. Thus, Season 2 comes to an end.